Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to hop on here really quick. If you guys are new, by the way, welcome. But I just want to hop on really quick and just give you guys an update about what happened. So basically, if you haven't seen what's been going on, my husband has been writing his coworker Jennifer and talking a whole lot of shit, and so I ended up kind of confronting him today. I was like, when I read some extra stuff last night, talking about how, because I wasn't talking to him for the past couple of days. I wasn't really saying anything to him. I was just doing my own thing, just hanging around or whatever. His friend Jennifer wanted to say, because he wrote to her. He was like, she's still giving me the cold shoulder. And his coworker was like, those actions like that makes it so easy for the partner to like separate, to move on or whatever. And so when I read that, it kind of got me upset. But what my husband said afterwards, he was like, oh yeah, you're right, that's why I'm like planning to leave her or whatever. She's gonna know, something like she's gonna know when I serve her those divorce papers or whatever. So I was really upset last night, and I was just like, you know what, I can't have this keep going on. Like, if he's gonna serve me divorce papers, serve it to me. Don't and I don't like the fact that he's talking to Jennifer and then like not talking to me. So all last night I was figuring out what to say to him, and I was just like, oh dude, I'm probably just gonna tell him like, bro, I'm gonna leave by January, like we'll spend this last holiday or whatever, and just give me some time to pack up my shit and save some money, and I'll get my own place with me and our son. And I thought about that, saying that, I was like, nah, because he's gonna bug out or whatever, and I'm not really gonna do that, because I'm like, fuck that. Like, you gonna send me divorce papers, I'm gonna have to sign a bitch, and I'm not going to, so fuck you type mannerism. So I was just like, nah, let me not do that. And I ended up coming up with just like saying to him like, hey, do you have anything you want to say to me or whatever? And so I went this morning and I talked to him, and I was like, hey, do you have anything you want to talk about or whatever? And he's like, well, actually I do. And so it kind of opened up a conversation. I talked about how I can't believe that you and your dad were like both pussies, like, and I had to go to my little brother who's in high school to go do my car, which I did. I got it done and everything, by the way. But I was saying that to him, and then I was starting to talk to him, and he was, we started hashing out more issues, and it kind of brought up the fact that I kind of kept saying like, oh, divorce me then. And he's like, why are you saying that? Like, why are you getting these vibes or whatever? And then I kind of brushed it off. I'm like, you always saying that you have an issue or whatever. Kind of brushed it off because I couldn't keep my mouth shut too long. So anyway, he had a conversation. We had a conversation, and then he started saying like, oh, he doesn't like that I talked to my brother about our issues. And I'm like, but you have Jennifer, like, you get to talk to Jennifer, and that's not fucking fair to me that you get to talk to Jennifer and I can't talk to anyone. And he went on and was like, no, I don't talk to Jennifer about our problems, like, she doesn't know anything. I don't. And I'm like, a word? Like, you don't go after an argument, go text Jennifer on, you don't tell her about, no, I haven't done this, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, you're lying, bro. Why I know he's lying? Because I read the text. So I'm like, you're telling me that I'm like, when was the last time you talked to her? Even though damn well I knew when was the last time. He was like, I talk to her every day. I'm like, well, you're telling me that you never had a conversation with her about our relationship. He's like, nah, I've never done that, blah blah blah. I don't believe in that. That's fucked up. And then I go and I said, okay, bring up the text. Bring it up. Prove me wrong. Then he goes and he's like, oh, well, I did talk to her this weekend because I was really mad. I'm like, now you're gonna say that you did talk to her. And I'm like, okay, what did you say? And you were like, oh, it was nothing really anything. I just said that I was mad or whatever. He goes and I'm like, read me the text. We're on like the phone. I said, read me the text. And he reads me some text messages, and I'm like, because I already read them, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, he skipped some stuff. And I'm like, and you were like, oh, that was it? Like, there was nothing else? I'm like, he just talked about the one from, like, yesterday. I'm like, bro, there's, like, comments all the way back. And I'm like, you know what? Come in the car, because I was in the car. I was like, come in the car, and we will look through the text messages together. He's like, okay, but I don't understand why you need to see this, blah, 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 all of this shit. And I'm like, if you have no problem with it, come in the car. Like, prove me wrong. And he's like, fine, whatever. I'll come in the car, whatever. And then as soon as he opened the car, well, before you read these texts, I just wanted you to know I was really, really mad, and I just said these things out of anger. Like, dude, like, why would you tell when I'm asking you? Why wouldn't you say these things when it was there? So I read all of the text right in front of him, telling him everything. He's like, oh, I just said these when I was mad, blah, 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 blah. And I come with the text, what I had a real issue with, is the fact that he went and he made Jennifer, I say that comment, like I said before, the comment is about my asthma. I have asthma. In the summertime, it acts up. I can't really do much or whatever. And she had that comment. I said, bro, look at this comment. And he was like, oh, I said, no, she doesn't. Or I'm like, nah, she's not like that. I'm like, no, you didn't. You agreed. And then you went on and talked about divorce. So what are you saying? Oh, I was probably really mad and I didn't write the thing or whatever. Me and my husband have issues in our relationship with him not setting boundaries with people in his life talking about me. He had a friend named, I don't give a shit, I'm gonna say it, a friend named Callie and a friend named I forget her name all the time. Let's just call her Jasmine, bro. I don't remember her name. But Callie and Jasmine, they both disrespected me. Jasmine, it was in the beginning of the relationship. She ended up, we were in a group text. He put it in a group text. I don't know how it happened or whatever, but she ended up texting me personally. I didn't know who it was, and I was like, oh, who is this? And she goes and says, oh, I'm the most important person in John's life. I'm like, who the fuck is this? I go, and I'm like, how are you gonna let her do that? And she continues to text me and say, oh, you're insignificant and you're gonna go away like quite soon. So I was so pissed off. I'm like, dude, you gotta say something to her or whatever. He's like, that's not cool to her or whatever. I'm like, nah, like, drop her as a friend. Like, that's fucked up. How are you gonna do that when I'm your girl? Like, and we were dating for a couple months when this happened. So that's what happened with Jasmine, that's her name? I don't remember her name. Jasmine, whatever. Now with Callie, it was a couple years, maybe it was like 2 years we were in the relationship. My husband is very shady, and I will say that 100%. He's 100% a shady person. Like, he will go and like take shit out of the air and like say this, and you can't prove that he's lying, but you can't prove that it's 100% true, and it sounds so sus. So I always call him shady. Now with the whole thing with Callie, apparently she got a new number, and I was on his phone. I was in his room, and a text came from a random number. Like, it was just a number. I'm like, who is that? She's like, oh, it's just Callie. Because I know that Callie is his friend or whatever. But I think that he was lying. Because it's just like, if she was your friend, she's your friend. Why would you not have her number saved? Oh, I was just lazy. She got a new number, blah, blah, blah. That's what he's saying to me. I'm like, that's sus. Like, first of all, he knew Callie before me. He was friends with her for a long time. Why would you not save her number? And I'm like, her number was saved before, and now all of a sudden it's not. That's sus. That's shady, bro. That's shady as shit, bro. And I guess there's gonna be a part 2 because I still got more to say. But guys, just looking, go to part 2 when I put this up or whatever. And yeah, peace. See you in part 2.